Okay, so by popular demand, we are going to learn how to make a slipper. So we start off with our magic circle and we pull the wool through the magic circle and chain 2. Okay, from here we want to put 6 half double crochets into the magic circle. Right, now what you need to remember is that the first chain stitch counts as the first, the 2 chain stitches here count as the first stitch. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pull your circle and then join your circle between the first and the second in there. So to join, you just pull the wool straight through. Okay, so from here we now want to put 2 into every stitch. So we chain 2, that counts as our first, and then we're going back into that stitch, so that's our first 2. As we move round, you can see the next hole there, and then again we're going to put 2 in there, and then the next one is there, 1, 2, and the last one, 2 in there, and again just pull the wool through, straight through, and slip stitch. Okay, so we've put 1 in each in the beginning, so that's 6, and then into each of those 6 we then put 2, so we now have 12 stitches. On the next row we're going to chain 2 to start, and we're going to put 2 into the first one, so there's 2 in that hole there. And the next one we're just going to put 1, and in the next one we're going to put 2, and then 1, and then 2, and then 1, and 2, and then 1, and then 2, 1, 2, and because we started on a 2 we need to end with a 1, so into there and then slip stitch together. As you can see, it starts to curl up a little bit, which is great. That's exactly what we want it to do. Okay, so from here we will then chain 2, put 2 into the first one, so you got 1, 2 in that first hole, then we're going to do a 1, and then we're going to do another 1, and now we're going back to 2. So every row you do, you would increase the 1s in between. So 2, 1, 2 was the last, was this row, and in this row we're going 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, all the way round. So I've just done my 2 into there, so I'm now doing a 1, 1, and then a 2, and then a 1, 1, and then a 2, and then a 1, 1, and then a 2, 1, 1, and a 2, and 1, 1. It should always work out that you complete the pattern. So if you're doing 2 1 1 2, you should always end on your 1 1, ready to link back up to your first 2. Okay, now what you need to do, I hadn't thought about this, just let me take my shoes and socks off. Okay, so you need to then sit it over, and you can see, let's put my foot back a little bit, that is now how your slipper is looking. So now what we need to do is come straight down, because this will give, so you want it to be quite snug at this stage. So tuck my foot out of the way again. Ooh. Okay, so what we're going to do now is do your 2 chain, and we're actually going to do, now when you'll see why, but naturally if I flatten that out, naturally the hole here at the beginning is slightly bigger than the others if you look round. So what we don't want to do is make that even bigger by going into this stitch here. So we're going to go into this one here for the first stitch. So we've actually got 2 stitches here, and what will happen is we will actually miss this last one here at the end to make it the same amount, but it just means that you're not going to have a big hole in this section here. So, and all we're doing now is we're putting 1 in every stitch as you go round, so just 1 in each. Okay, so instead of going into that one, we're going to join it with a slip stitch there. And as you can see, it now closes up that hole. Okay, what you're going to now continue to do is exactly the same as the last one. So you want 1 stitch in every stitch, which will just keep it coming straight now down the foot. While I'm doing this, I'll just tell you that if you wanted to make a bigger slipper, so if you happen to have a wider foot, let's just pull some more wool out. If you happen to have a wider foot, then after your 2 1 1 2 row, you would then do a 2 1 1 1 2, and it will make it that bit wider, and from there you can go straight down. If you wanted to do yet another one, so to make it a lot bigger, it would be 2 1 1 1 1 2, and you just increase the ones in between every time. Also, what you need to make sure you're doing is, because for different people the number of stitches and the number of rows you do will be different. As you're making your first slipper to measure, you need to make a note of how many, at what point you stopped your increase at the beginning and then went to your straight, and then how many straight rows you've done is also important, so make sure you keep a note of that. So I'm back to the beginning again, so I'm just going to slip stitch into it, and if I just take the hook out, you can see that it's starting to cover your foot. What you need to do is just carry on with 1 in each stitch until you get it to about there on your foot, and then come back and see me for part 2.